Hello there everybody and welcome back after a rather long pause. In case you're wondering what's been going on, I've been quite ill, but I am way better now, so let's get right back into it. We have 3 weeks to recap, so let's get started. In our last video we managed to get all the items required to complete the traveling merchant quest, so this week is going to be mostly focused on that. But we also happened to roll a pretty nice board of creatures. We've got crocodiles, minotaur hunters, warlocks, orclops ravagers, drill worms, congras, dark apprentices, and twisted shapers. All of these are highly doable, so without any further ado, let's get right into it. Which is of course a lie, there is going to be some further ado. It's Monday, so we have to present a deer trophy to Rashid in Svargrand to progress the quest. Right after this though, we are ready to go right to Port Hope and call the local population of congras and crocodiles. On the very next day, Tuesday, I have to travel to Liberty Bay and do another stupid chore for Rashid. And then on Wednesday, another one, this time in Port Hope. And then, believe it or not, another task in Ankara Moon. You may also be surprised to learn that after this I waited another day without doing a single task and headed straight to the Russia, where Rashid is again waiting for me to give me another stupid task. This one requires me to own 3 pieces of iron ore. I was quite certain I have enough because we've done so many hunts of lost dwarves. But to be honest, I did not expect it to be over 50, so that's pretty neat. Needless to say, this one was also a success. Since it was Friday already, I had to get started on doing some of these tasks, otherwise I might not make it in time. The first ones to go were drill worms. These ugly cousins of shotworms have no business posing any threats to me on my level. Next up, dark apprentices. Again, not really a problem other than all the players running around and stealing my kills in Yalahar. Then it was time for the Orclops Ravagers. To be honest, I've never heard of those guys before, but they have proven a rather enjoyable hunt. Or at least that's what I would say, if not for all those stupid cave pirates that infest the caves where they live. I cannot comprehend why Cipsoft would place them here for other reason than just annoying paladins. After this it was Saturday already, so I had to do another little chore for Rashid and deliver the goldfish bowl that I procured last week. On Sunday, the very next day, we were ready to find Rashid in Karlin and finally unlock the ability to sell some of our loot to him. But since we can't complain about being low on funds right now, I decided to hold on and keep all the items in case they are needed for a delivery later. Unfortunately, it was Sunday already and we still had a bunch of tasks to complete, but we are absolutely going to lock in and get it done. First, the, for whatever reason, super-powered minotaurs, namely the minotaur hunters. They can get a little bit dangerous, especially if surrounded by other kin, but with a little bit of care they can make for a very profitable and very good EXP hunt. A couple hours later we were headed to Dimona. Since it is quite a trek that usually takes at least 15 minutes if you know the way pretty well, and I was rather short on time, I stocked up on extra arrows and potions to be sure to kill all the necessary warlocks in one go. It was only just about 80, so I didn't have to worry. Or at least so I thought. Unfortunately, warlocks can hit quite hard and I don't have much experience hunting them. They have absolutely burned through my supplies and I could only get halfway through the task before having to eject using the emergency teleport. Needless to say, I was a bit ticked off, but determined to get it done in the second trip. This I was able to do, but the amount of money I spent hunting those little buggers is insurmountable. 2 out of 10 will not recommend. Next up, I had to venture into the deepest part of the old masonry and hunt some twisted shapers. It was no small amount, so once again I brought more potions than I usually do, just to be sure to finish it in one go. As you may already expect, I did not bring enough potions. However, unlike warlocks, shapers are actually quite profitable, so I did enjoy my time here. At this point we were already done with the tasks, but as you may have noticed I completely skipped deliveries, and these were going to be absolutely exquisite. There were 3 items on this list that I could deliver with minimal effort. First, the dandelion seeds, which I already had in ample amounts thanks to my many hunts in Faerist. Second, rotten pieces of cloth, While I didn't have enough, I was pretty close and they drop quite commonly from ghouls. And lastly, fir cones. Well, I did have some fir cones, but definitely not enough to complete the task straight away, so this was going to be the greatest challenge. This little leaf golem and forest fury place north of Karlin was absolutely crowded, but I found this neat little place on Cormea that had a lot of leaf golems. I would just run around ignoring all other creatures and shoot the leaf golems with my best arrows, which was probably a little bit wasteful, but I had no time to spare. I was able to get all the required fir cones relatively quickly and then moved on to do the same to ghouls. And with these 3 deliveries done, I was actually able to score a ×3 multiplier. With it, my weekly hunting task point reward would be increased all the way to 3,375. I usually get just around 1,000, so this basically skipped 3 weeks instead of 1 for our progress. Not only that, until now we were only able to accumulate just about 11,000, so this is basically 30% of what we got all time. Having finished this week on a very high note, I was quite excited to see the board for the next week, and unfortunately it was absolutely abysmal. Quora Hydromancers, Quora Pinchers, not Scouts mind you, which we probably cannot hunt since we don't have a Helmet of the Deep or any ways to get one anytime soon. Also Quora Predator Scouts, which are not very numerous, Twisted Shapers again, which I was very tired of, at which point I decided that I am going to take a break. Of course, we could absolutely make this week work, but why try if I'm just going to get burnt out? So I did take a week rest and did nothing for this week. So here comes another board. This time the tasks look a little bit better. Of course, there are those things called griffins and fever sleeps that we probably cannot hunt at all. But other than this, I see some pretty interesting positions that I would really like to try. And so, first it was time for carrion worms to say goodbye to their lives. After these scarabs, I probably could use them as an excuse to hunt some more ancient scarabs, but I really did not feel up to it, so regular scarabs it was. After this, roaring lions. Now they are a very weird thing that you can find in one of the deep catacombs of the Russia. There is a quest related to it and it requires some items to get it done, but thankfully I already had one of the only drop items that is required, that being a Cobra tongue. With the access quest done, they actually turned out to be a very pleasant, very profitable hunt that I would love to repeat if I ever get the chance. I then took advantage of my illness to log in very early and kill some stone refiners that are usually hogged by many low-level players, since these guys drop a lot of money, give good EXP and cannot sense invisibility. My next target, the insectoid workers, were actually quite fun, mostly because an NPC that sells all the supplies is just right outside their hunting grounds. I've never been to the hive before and the place looks absolutely awesome, that's some really good map making, so I enjoyed it quite a lot even though it was rather slow. I then went to Shadowthorn and completely forgot to record myself hunting elves. Hopefully you guys can forgive me and trust that I killed those elves without any outside help, right? Then one of my friends showed me that I could actually be stocking some silver and gold tokens pretty easily by doing some daily tasks in the war zone. We already did some of those when we were hunting on the Dire Moss, but there is also some tasks that can be done without having to fight anything, which basically means I can do them every day, regardless of my tasks or deliveries. I am especially interested in the silver tokens, because those can be exchanged for some pretty sick armor. I then spent a bunch of days hunting ogre shamans on Kralos, so that I can complete a shamanic talisman delivery. Between having to kill 79 griffins, 146 fever slips, or any other items on my task list, the shamanic talismans were by far the easiest. They definitely took some time, but the hunt was profitable, so I could not complain at all. And with the task board secured for the week, I was able to roll some bounties and enjoy some hunts. First some pixies in Fairest, then even more pixies in Fairest. After this I progressed my Zao questline a little and did another bounty for mummies. After that yet another bounty, Dwarf Venom Snipers. And finally some water elementals, which I could also hunt in Port Hope. And now we have finally made it to the current week. We are rolling adept tasks again, we unlocked some kind of achievement, which I could not be bothered to look up what it is, and we can already see two problematic but also potentially huge entries. Firstly, the Roto Elementals. Last time we rolled them I decided to skip them because the trip to Oramond is a little bit risky and I do not feel like dying. And then there's Lost Souls. Lost Souls are actually kind of tough. There's not many places where you can hunt them. Of course, I've killed a lot of them on my last character, Skogul the Barbarian, because there's a bunch of them in the Formorger mines as well as a single lost soul in Helheim. Unfortunately, I cannot exactly go and hunt them. In order to access Helheim or the Formorger mines, you have to progress the Ice Islands questline. And that questline requires you to deliver some items during one of the missions. Items that I currently still were not able to acquire. Other areas with lost souls are usually quite dangerous and suitable for players of level 250 and up, which I am nowhere close to. However, having lost souls as one of my tasks opens up a very interesting possibility. There happens to be quite a fair amount of lost souls on the way to the Pits of Inferno quest. Not to mention one of the demonic thrones also has a bunch of those lost souls in it. And so, within our guild we got together an elite team in order to try and tackle this challenge. Unfortunately, none of our Ironman play monks, so we had to go ahead and ask people on the advertising chat to see if there was any monk willing to help us. While we did indeed find a willing monk, we also found a bunch of randoms who decided it would be a great idea to just follow us around and join the quest, despite our protests or pleas against it. Nonetheless, we chose to go ahead with the quest because you can't really win them all and it would be difficult to find a more suitable date for all the members. With our combined firepower, getting through the levers stage wasn't too much of an issue. The real challenge was all about making it to the hub and then clearing one of the thrones in order to unlock a shortcut that would allow us to return to the hub whenever we are ready to tackle one more of the thrones. Which of course meant we had to be very careful with our supplies not to overspend them too soon. Things got especially dicey around the middle of the throne, where the randoms that previously supported us decided to start doing weird stuff, which was borderline sabotaging our quest, but thankfully we came out on top. Having touched one of the thrones, we were now able to return to the hub whenever we wanted. And with this it was time to get some more hunting tasks done. First, mammoths. I was especially happy to roll this one because I still have a hunting task with Grizzly Adams that I would be very keen on finishing sometime soon. It was not enough just yet, but I am slowly getting there. After that, ice witches. I was in Svargrund already, so all I had to do was get in there and get them done. I remember the ice witches to be quite enjoyable, way back from my time as Skogul the Barbarian, the melee paladin, but apparently all the bloodwalkers on all the floors are quite troublesome for a low defense ranged paladin. Despite all this, it did not stop us from completing the task. Then it was a quick trip, equipped with elemental fire arrows, to kill some earth elementals. I then used one of my deliveries, namely the sulfurous stone, in order to progress my Zao questline. I had to defeat the Shard of Corruption, a stone golem boss that lives alongside some other stone golems, which drop the sulfurous stones. Therefore, legal. Since I was in Zao already, I climbed to the Dragon Blaze peaks in order to hunt some Dragon Lord hatchlings. They were quite awful and I hope to never roll this task again. Next up, a bunch of Lost Bashers. Lost Dwarves are quite enjoyable these days, especially since they drop a lot of Dwarven rings. And while hunting them requires me to wear a Dwarven ring pretty much the entire time, they also drop enough to sustain that and more. After that it was time for the Shaper Matriarchs. We already did some Twisted Shapers in the previous weeks, so they weren't going to be much of a problem. Our level is even higher and we hunted them plenty. This week also concluded the Piece of Cake event, a world event that has everybody on the server eat a giant cake and then recreate the cake. I'm honestly not really sure what Civsoft was thinking with this one, but the most important part is we get a pretty cool backpack as well as a rare cupcake that allows us to heal our entire HP with just a single click. I was still a number of creatures short of completing my 2000 of any creature task, so first I did a beholder bounty and then used one of my deliveries, the deepling scales, to hunt some deeplings in Fihonja on the Grey Island. Rounding up the 2k did not take long at all, and even though we weren't able to collect enough deepling scales, not even close, we already had a bunch of sulfurous stones from our hunts that we did during the very first week of this challenge, in the Hrodmir caves full of stone golems and gargoyles. Hoarding them for this long finally came in handy, and with this we were able to hit the ×2 multiplier. It also elevated us to level 150. And with this we are going to wrap up. Special thanks to everybody who waited for this video to release. I know it's been 4 weeks, but I have fallen quite ill and could not find the strength to record any voice. From now on, these recaps are going to be bi-weekly, so expect the new one in 2 weeks. It's just way easier to keep a good schedule and enough content to make the video at least 10 minutes long. Special shoutout to all members of the Iron Bears guild. The Piece of Inferno was a huge success and I can't wait to do more fronts with you. Thank you everybody for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.